Today, I am interviewing Barbara Mishkin, the author of Tip's Magical Journey, A Ride to Discovery and Inspiration. Hi, Barbara.
Good morning, Patty. So nice to be here, and thank you for the invitation to join you today.
So, I read your book and I fell in love with Tip. Tip is an 8.5-year old who enjoys riding a train and tells about his journey and all the people he meets. Some of them are different than him, and the stories that they tell him about their life. So, what inspired you to write this book?
Patty, many years ago, my father used to ride the train. He was a pharmacist, and he used to come home on the weekend and tell me Sunday mornings about little Audrey. And every week I would say, "Well, did you see little Audrey this week?" And he would tell me in his own mind a very magical story about always little Audrey. Now, when I had my first grandson, I decided to change the name. And later on, I called him Tip. Why did I call him Tip? Because I started a project 9 years ago called the Inspiration Project. It sends inspirations on my artwork to about 12 different charities, and I had a dozen volunteers. We would gather together, and it was the Inspiration Project, and we would make mountains of frames. Now, the frames were repurposed. They were dropped off at my doorstep. Believe it or not, 15,000 frames over a course of years. Everybody wanted to get rid of their frames. They were downsizing and everything. So when the pandemic came, there was a problem. I couldn't have volunteers, and none of the retirement homes would accept the frames. So I had to reframe the entire project, and I went online on Facebook, and I would send my inspirations as I do today, and 210,000 people reach them. They are reached worldwide. So I took the first initial of each inspirational project, and I called him Tip. And Tip, I knew who Tip was going to be because my grandson kept saying, "Please write a book about Tip." 25, he's 25 now, and years later he said, "I still remember the stories." So if somebody that young to being a 25-year-old could remember stories, I decided I have another purpose. And that was writing a story about Tip. And Tip is this little precocious little boy. His feet don't touch the ground, but he rides the train each day. And he gets joy. He's non-judgmental. Nobody is judgmental to him, and they just are drawn to him. He has this demeanor about him, and he's just loving.
So, throughout the book, Barbara, almost on every page, as she's recounting the individual people that Tip has met and the stories that he's learned, she adds a little inspirational message. And there are two that are very special to me that I just want to share with you now. First one is when Tip meets Demetrius and Athena, and you write, day by day, what you choose, what you think, and what you do is who you become. And the other one that I love is when Tip meets Billy from Philly, and you wrote, be kind to others and share whatever you can. It will make you feel better. So, Barbara, what's the message you would want your readers to get from this book?
Well, actually, I want them to get a message from each person they encounter. Demetrius and Athena come from Greece. They tell him about the monuments there and how the city is very contemporary now and built around the monuments and things like that. But they tell him something that, as an 8.5-year-old, he probably didn't understand as much until he constantly thought about it. What you are, if you wake up happy each day, if you make yourself happy, if you have no negative thoughts, then your day will be consistently better for you. You look at the sun, you see sunshine. Even when it's cloudy, you envision the day as even the tiniest little thing, I'm going to do good and I'm going to affect somebody else. So it says mainly that what you believe in is who you become. And he remembers that until the end of the book. And he takes all of these different sayings and it completes his life when he looks back. Now, Billy from Philly was this do-gooder. I had heard about the person and I decided to write about him. And I thought Tip would enjoy meeting somebody like that because he wasn't old, he wasn't young, but he was a young gentleman. And Tip could, in the book, he looks up to him and he says, "What's in your little sack?" And he says, "Well, I collect things. In the summer, I collect things that maybe cold water or things like that. And I go downtown and I have bananas and I have apples and I don't have a lot, but it's what I could give to others." In the winter, he takes gloves and socks. And I heard a story that Billy first started out when he went to see homeless people downtown and he went by them, he actually took off his socks and gave it to somebody. So this inspired me. So I thought, well, it will inspire Tip. So he tells Tip, whatever you have, try to be nice, give it to others, even if it's the smallest little thing, because that will bring a smile to somebody's face.
So, how do our viewers buy the book?
My book can be sold on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Ask your library to order it for you. I'm hopeful that every library will have one. And also go to your bookseller. If it's not on the shelf, please tell them to order it. I have priced it very reasonable, and I want every child to be able to have one, or at least to share one. And that's my goal. It's always about the do-gooder and how we can change the world through thoughtfulness. It's a difficult time now for young children to grow up, but if they have a little bit of good thoughts in their head, then they can share them. And I hope everybody will take little Tip. He eventually grows up to be Big Tip.
Right.
And I hope they all take him as their mentor. There are so few mentors for young boys and girls. And this they could have on their bookshelf and read it chapter by chapter. Because that's how I envisioned it, that you don't have to read the entire book, but you could pick it up, put it down, then choose your favorites and keep reading them. And hopefully it will be successful for children. It's already been successful for me that I could be with you, Patty, and let everybody vision this.
But Barbara, you have something to tell us. You just got some awards. Tell us about your awards.
Yes, very, very gracious to get the Reader's Choice Award, Literary Titan, the Reader Views Award, the Reader's Favorites Award, and one of my favorites is a seal of approval from the National Parenting Center. This is like the Consumer Reports of books. And libraries and teachers can't read every book that comes their way. This is a way of these various centers telling the teacher, the parent, whoever wants to buy a book, what they should be buying because they have approved it. All my ratings on Amazon are 5+, and I'm very grateful, Patty.
Well, congratulations. And this is the book. We hope you get to your bookstores to buy this. It's a great book for not only children, but for adults. And Barbara, I'm honored to have you with me today. Thank you.
Thank you again, Patty.